Okay, guys, this is exciting. These are new tools for me, so I'm going to be learning them right along with you. They are super awesome, though. So this is how we use Photoshop to create and fill patterns, right? And what this is going to mean for our costume renderings is that we can put all kinds of pattern fabrics on the clothes for our various models, right? It's also super useful though when you get to like scenic design and you want to create a seamless repeat, right? You want to make some wallpaper, you want to make a floor that has an infinite seamless repeat, right? It's also super useful when you're doing that same task in Vectorworks and you need to create seamless patterns that you can then utilize as render textures in Vectorworks, in SketchUp, whatever, okay? So that's what we're going to learn today. Let me close my scale rule template that I was working on for the scenic design class, and we're going to create 2 new files, okay? And I'm gonna have you, for this project, I want you to create 3 things, okay? I'm gonna list them over here on the side by my head, or maybe over here, we'll see. 3 things, okay? So we want, number 1, a seamless pattern that is just like a regular pattern stamp, okay? 2, we want a pattern that you've created that wraps around, so that has that seamless repeat in it, and I'll show you how to do that. And then 3 is going to be to take a fabric swatch and create a repeating pattern out of real live scanned fabric swatch, okay? So those are the 3 patterns that we're going to work on for today. And then next class we'll work on applying that into your costume renderings. Okay, let's start by creating 2 new files. So the first one is going to be just a regular sheet of paper, like this letter page. We'll just create that, okay? I'm going to save this as a pattern test, okay? So this paper is going to be how we test out what the pattern looks like if it's on a whole surface, okay? So let's save that. And then we're going to create another new file, and this is going to be a specific size, okay? So we're going to do a custom size over here. It's going to be, let's see, what do we want to do? 3 inches by 3 inches at 150 dpi, or pixels per inch, right? So that's going to be our little square sample, all right? So let's save that as pattern sample. Okay, great. 2 separate files. All right, so the first thing I want to show you how to do is just to fill a pattern. I don't know if there's any built into Photoshop, but we'll find out. So first we're going to create a new layer. It's going to go like this, right? We're going to select all using Control A, or you could select any part of that. You can create a selection of any shape, right? And then we're going to go down to this little circle that's divided in half, okay? And the Photoshop teacher that I learned from, she calls it the cookie because she's from New York, and so it looks like one of those cookies that's black, like a black and white cookie, where it's like chocolate on one half and vanilla on the other half. So we're going to call it the cookie like she calls it the cookie because that's what's in my brain right now. So we're going to just click on that button, and we're going to go to this third option, which says pattern, and we're going to click on it. Wow! So there is a sample pattern for us of some trees. Wow! Look, all of these trees that you could fill in, right? Or waters. That's amazing, right? Grasses, lawns. Some of them are better than others, right? So we're just gonna like, for now, let's chill with this tree situation, although we're gonna create our own folder probably. Let's just click OK. All right, so now that whole layer is now filled with these trees. Cool, okay. What if we want to make our own pattern? Which we do. This is our life, right? We're going to come over here to pattern sample. We're going to double click on this layer because it doesn't want to be a background layer. It wants to be layer 0. Then we're going to draw something, okay? You can use your brush tool. You can use your shape tools down here. Like what if I wanted a flower? Oh my gosh, it's making a tree shape. Whoa, look at all this madness. There's a lot of good shapes over here, y'all. What if I wanted to use like this flower? It's like almost like a stamp, right? Click on it. Now, as I drag, it's going to create that flower, right? It can be squishy, it can be big. I can hold shift to keep it square. While I continue to hold shift and move my mouse around, I can hold the space bar and it moves the whole thing around. So shift by itself makes it stay square. Space bar makes it move around. Wow, it's a flower. Okay, it's not a real cute color. Maybe we should change its color to like pink. We got a pink flower going on now, y'all. Check it out. Okay. I feel like maybe it should not have just a white background. Maybe it should have like some kind of a nice like color in the background. So let's go pick a color to go behind that pink. Maybe it's kind of like a light mint green. And then I'm going to just use my paint bucket tool and I'll fill that in on layer 0. Mint green with a big flower on it. Okay, so let's say I want this to be my fabric. Okay, I want a wild fabric that has this big pink flower stamped all over it. Okay, great. So what I'm gonna do is I come up here to edit, and then I come down to where it says define pattern. Okay, and then it asks for a name, and I'm gonna call this pink flower. All right, click OK. All right, so now I have this pink flower. When I come over to pattern test and I double click on this guy, I should be able to find pink flower. What? Now it's a pink flower print. Okay, so that's test 1 for you. I want you to create using shapes, drawing a picture, whatever it is, create one pattern that is just a regular stamped print. Okay, and it's kind of boring because it's just stamped every so often, but you could do stripes. There's all kinds of stuff you could do that could be really cool as a stamped pattern. Okay, so that's phase 1 of this equation. So you'll create one of these and you'll just export this this page where it's filled as pattern sample 1. Okay, and the way I would do that is I'd go to File, Export, quick export as PNG. It's gonna think about it now. Thinking. Where's my Jeopardy music, man? Do, 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 do. There it is. And we're going to call this, I'm going to put it back up into my digital rendering folder. Pattern sample 1. Beautiful. Save. Okay. Pattern sample 1. So good, right, you guys? I love it. It's great. Okay. Now we're going to do pattern sample 2. Okay. So in this case, we're using another another strategy, right? And this is going to be to create a more random pattern, right? So this one was just a stamp, and that's fine for like starters, but it's not the end all, right? So I'm going to make this to have a few more flowers on it, okay? So I'm going to first Control T, that opens my transform tools, so I can like put this flower. Maybe I want to make a copy of it. So you can either right click here on the layer and go to duplicate layer, or the other thing you can do is just grab the layer and hover over the layer plus sign, okay? And that will go ahead and make that copy for you. Wow, a trick. We're gonna use our transform tools and kind of rotate it so that it's not a perfect, like, you know, stamp, so that they look a little different each time, okay? Maybe I'll see if there's any other shapes. So I'm going to just do one more of this flower, and then I'm going to see if there's another shape I like too, right? Another flower I like as well. So let's just take this third guy over here and transform it. We're going to rotate it in a different direction so they all look a little different, even though they're basically the same shape. And then I hit enter, or I click the checkbox in order to get out of those flowers. So I can pick them up and move them around, which is great. And I think I want to put them on like a blue background just so that it's a different it's a clearly different pattern. So I'll just come into my layer 0 and turn that kind of a bluey lavendery color. And then I want to add some more shapes, right? So I remember I came down here to this shape option in order to get this flower shape. There are other shapes available, right? If you twirl this guy out, you could do just rectangles or round rectangles or circles or lines, yeah, da 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 da, right? You can also draw things. That's totally cool. We're gonna come in and the one thing I have done so far, right, is I've not overlapped that edge. I've kept the edge clear. I'm gonna grab maybe another flower, okay? So I used this one already. No, I used this one already. Maybe I'll add in some roses, okay? So I just double click on that and then I'm able to draw some roses in. And I'm gonna make them a slightly different color. So like maybe they're a lighter pink, maybe they're like overlapping with this guy a little bit. So we're going to change their color to, I'm going to use this color picker and just kind of go into like a lighter, I might even go a little bit more peachy with the rose, you know, a little rose flavor, right? Let's do that. Let's see how that looks. Ooh, nice. Okay. I'm going to move that underneath because I think that it's kind of behind that first shape maybe. You can also use brush tools to do this, although we're not doing that right now. So like that's for sure totally an option. This might be, oops, I accidentally moved that background layer. Let's lock it so I don't accidentally do that again. So then maybe I think this is a little too big. I don't know, you guys, this is the whole thing of being an artist. It's confusing for life. So I'm just going to put a couple roses in the background behind these shapes. All right. Great. Let's duplicate that a couple times. So I have 2 more of these. And we'll just pick them up. Uh-oh, too many shapes. Put them in slightly different places. Maybe rotate the shape around so it has a different feel to it. Let's do one more. Where'd it go? There we go. Put this one kind of over here. Okay, so now I kind of have this vibe going on. If I define this pattern just as it is, right, it's gonna look a little goofy, right? So let's go ahead and see what that would look like, even though it's not the way we're gonna play this game. So I'm gonna come in here, define this pattern, and this is pattern 2 with roses. Okay, and let's see what it looks like over here in our pattern fill. Double click on there once again. Yeah, you see it looks like it's a stamp and then there's like gaps in between, which is not the cutest. It's just not. Like, we can do better than this, y'all, and we're going to. Just you wait, it's gonna be great. Hold on, I have a message. I gotta check my messages. All right, so we can do better than this, and we're going to. So here's what we do. We come back into pattern sample, right? I'm going to, for the purposes of this equation, I'm going to merge together this whole piece, okay? So I'm going to take all of these shapes, right? And I'm going to just merge them together. And that's going to be right here, merge shapes. Uh-oh, didn't want it, that's not right. No, Control Z. I don't want to merge shapes. I want to, We're just going to put those all in a group together. We're not going to merge them. Now we're going to do this really cool thing that I just learned. It's really cool though, you guys. It's like, wow. It's a wow. It's a wow. So we got to merge this group. Great. So I put them all into a group together, merge them together. Now it's just one layer. Okay. So once you put them in the group, you can merge them together and call it flowers. Great. Okay, so now that it's one layer, filter, other, offset. This is for real, okay? And we move this offset dealio right around here. We make sure wrap around is selected. And then we're going to go up to this back top corner, drag to the middle. Okay, so what it has done is it took that flower image, right, and it wrapped it around this whole page, right? So now this line will match up with that line and it'll be a continuous pattern. Isn't that cool, you guys? And like over here, this will wrap around to there and this will wrap around to here. So this has made a seamless pattern. The thing that it has also done is it's created this section in the center where we can fill in a couple more stamps of those shapes and we'll get what looks more like a random pattern that's continuous instead of a bunch of stamps that are just squares, okay? So we're gonna say okay, and let's add in a couple more of that shape layer stuff we were messing around with. So we know we like this shape, and we want its fill to be this recently used color, right? Let's draw another one of these, holding shift, right? Control T, transform. Let's rotate it around a little bit. So like that'll be the background one. Maybe it tucks underneath this guy a little. So I'm going to move it down below the rest of the flowers. So it's kind of behind. And then let's do one more of this bright pink guy too. Okay. So I'm going to go in and pick that other flower shape, this baby. You can do this with whatever shape you want. If you don't want a flower, there's apparently wild animals and boats. There's lots of weird stuff in here. You could make a wild animal print or a boat print or some leafy trees, right? There are probably even more shapes that you could go get from the internet. I don't know. I'm new. All right, so I'm going to pick up this hot pink and that other pink flower, and let's just shift, draw in a new one of those, and transform. Let's rotate it and kind of set it into this space so it overlaps a little bit of those two, okay? Holy cow, you guys, this is going to be my new pattern, all right? So now let's see if this one looks better. File, edit, edit, define pattern, and this is going to be better flower pattern. Okay. Let's see what happens on my pattern test page. All right, this is kind of a joke. Double click on there. Let's go in. Ho, ho, ho. There you go. Now it fills the whole page and it's nice and it's overlapped and it looks like it kind of snakes down the page, right? We can zoom in, Control plus, and it looks like a magical wallpaper and you just made it yourself. Okay, it's a seamless pattern. It goes across the whole surface. This is awesome. So I want to save this as my second sample in order to submit it to my assignment. So same process. I'll come up here and I'll just be like, hey, file, export as a PNG. Pattern, sample 2. Okay, cool, right? So now we've got these two patterns. Your third project is going to be to go in and use this same process with a piece of existing fabric. I am going to go ahead and export this video as step 1. So this is creating patterns from scratch, the video. And then there will be another video for you about creating a seamless repeat pattern from a fabric swatch. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you. Bye.